Before I entered the cattle wagon where we were going to be, I had seen, and I think Ariel was mentioning, that open wagon loaded with red beets. And I seen that some people went there to steal a few pieces. Imagine that a red beet like this, raw as it was enough to support against starvation, starving to death for a full day, the four of us. So I asked my mother to give me a pillowcase, which were our main carrying case, and I went, dragged myself there, collected maybe a half a dozen, and was bringing it back. And then came another miracle while I am here. As I was approaching my cattle wagon, the next track, an SS guard was standing like behind, with my back to me, busy shooting to death a 10 or 11-year-old little boy who was holding a red beet in each hand. He committed such a cardinal sin that executing him was just the right way, according to his belief. While he was shooting that little boy to death, I gave my bundle to someone at the door. When he turned around, he just barked at me to get up, get on. Would he have turned around 10 or 15 seconds earlier, he would have shot me to death as well. As you see, unforeseeable circumstances, miracles, act of faith intervened for individual survival. Those beets were the supplemental food for the 6 days while we were in the train. When April 12 arrived and the train got stuck without an engineer, until today I thought it was no engine as well, then the order came that every male over the age of 12 have to step out, stand in the little embankment, and between us and the cattle wagon, a machine gun was set up facing us. Originally, as far as I know, when the train couldn't continue as it was planned, then the commandant decided that he is going to execute the people by machine gun. For 2 hours we were there facing the machine gun, and then we were ordered back. Afterward, we found out that, again, without officially knowing it, just as I heard about it, up to the last minute, only volunteer SS were required to do execution. And there were, out of the 25 or 30 SS guards on the train, only 8 volunteered. And the commandant decided not to go ahead to execute 2,500 people with 8 persons. So then they ordered us back, and next morning there were no SS guards. I was out from the cattle wagon making a little fire, and in a pot I was trying to cook the remnants of the red beets. Around 1 o'clock at the afternoon, and on the top of the embankment, the first miracles happened, what affected all of us. Some of these gentlemen who are sitting here, honorable gentlemen, were showing up, sweating, dirty, fighting, holding a gun, ready to shoot any Nazis whom they encounter, and instead of it, from us went off a cry, "Oh God, we are going to be free. We are going to be human beings again." We thought that this is the end of it. No, it was not. Because our emaciated bodies were not able to take normal food, and many of us, including me, who were led into Farsleben and into the houses where the American soldiers ordered the occupants for the short period of time out from the houses. When we went in, I was, like others, in rags, and they showed me beautiful suits. Didn't speak English. They didn't speak neither Hungarian nor German, but with hands and feet we were able to communicate, and they said, with these communicating system, to take whatever suit I will want. Instead of it, I smelled food from the door to my left. And when he turned to another inmate, then I left the wardrobe and I went there and found on the table food with which I gorged myself, and then a pot into which I put some and took it back to my mother and to my two little brothers who were in the cattle wagon. At that night, I was violently ill. My mother, an extremely smart lady, forced her finger down on my throat, made it bring it up, and with that she saved my life. Due to that, what I do not know what is the medical name of it. We called it hunger typhus because it was dropping people the same way like the typhus what we were fighting all along at the end in Bergen-Belsen. Hundreds and hundreds succumbed to it, and they are buried in Hillersleben. I am talking to students for one single reason. They were asking many times, why do you do it? Every time I am talking about it, I am reliving those horrors, and my answer is, for you to learn from these horrors what hatred could bring. We are all being born equal, and a child could develop to be a good person who is enjoying to be doing good things and get satisfaction from it, or to become an evil person whose aim is hurting others. Those people are consumed by hatred, and hatred is something what we have to fight against. And students who are attending, we are asking them to fight against discrimination, against prejudice, against any kind of differences which would degrade another person. And thinking that only masses could turn around the thinking of people, that is wrong. Every single individual with his or her input can help to turn this world to be a better world. When you hear a derogative comment which brings on a smile on many, don't just smile with them. Say out loud that that is not right. And I am always asking the students, look at the others as equals, but not just look. Treat them as equals. And one more thing, silence, which again was mentioned here in these 2 days, is a dangerous thing. The very first shocking result of that was when we were marched in my hometown from the ghetto to the rail station to be taken away. There were some people on the two sides of the main street who were followers of the Hungarian Holocaust party, and we knew that they were happy that we are being taken away. And they were clapping, yelling, and smiling. But hundreds of people behind them stood silently. They thought that with their silence they are not doing anything. That is not so. If you are keeping silent, with that you are supporting the oppressors. Never ever keep silent when you see injustice. I always finish with the students or any other audience when I'm speaking to them that I am talking to them, that I am telling my story, so that will not become their future. And ending it with a quote from Martin Niemöller, who happened to be a German Protestant pastor who spoke up from the pulpit against the Nazis, and because of this they took him to a concentration camp which he had survived. And in October 1945 he wrote these following words, quote, "The Nazis in Germany came first for the communists, and I didn't speak up because I was not a communist. Then they came for the Jews, and the same thing. I was not a Jew, so I didn't speak up. Then they came for the Catholics, I still didn't speak up. Then they came for me, and there were nobody to speak up." This is how silence could result in bad situations. Thank you very much.